Hey Raiders fans, we're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. The NFL world woke up to one of the most shocking and whispered about moves of the season. A move that has sent ripples across the league and left fans of both the Raiders and the Broncos in absolute disbelief, as the Las Vegas Raiders have managed to swoop in and seal a deal for Patrick Surtain II, a cornerback who was widely rumored to be heading to Denver, a destination that many had considered a perfect fit given the Broncos' desperate need to bolster their secondary and the fact that certain skill sets seemed tailor-made for their defensive scheme. Insiders have been whispering for weeks about clandestine meetings, late-night calls, and a subtle tug-of-war between the two teams, each trying to outmaneuver the other without alerting the media or the fans. And now, with the ink barely dry on the contract, the Raiders emerge victorious in what is already being called one of the most audacious front office moves in recent memory. A move that could redefine the power dynamics of the AFC West and send shockwaves through fantasy football drafts, betting lines, and the league's chatter-heavy rumor mills, as everyone scrambles to recalibrate their expectations and analyze the long-term implications of Surtain donning the silver and black instead of the orange and blue that many had envisioned, creating a narrative filled with intrigue, envy, and excitement. The context leading up to this unexpected signing reads like a thriller novel, full of plot twists, hidden agendas, and subtle maneuvers that only the most seasoned NFL insiders could fully appreciate, as the Raiders, under the radar for much of the offseason, executed a series of strategic calls, negotiations, and promises that ultimately convinced Patrick Surtain II and his representatives that Las Vegas was the place to be, a decision that flew in the face of widespread speculation that Denver would secure the young cornerback, a scenario that had dominated headlines, podcasts, and social media threads for weeks, creating a false sense of inevitability around the Broncos' acquisition, while the Raiders quietly plotted a masterstroke that would leave the football world buzzing, questioning, and double-checking every report, with analysts scrambling to explain how the Raiders managed to pull off such a move, how the Broncos failed to land a player they were widely assumed to have, locked in, and what this means for the balance of power in the division, the team chemistry in Las Vegas, and the future trajectory of Patrick Surtain II, whose arrival now sets off a cascade of questions, speculations, and potential domino effects that will be debated endlessly across sports shows, online forums, and locker room conversations. Sources close to the negotiation table suggest that the Raiders' front office took an unorthodox approach, blending aggressive offers, personal appeals, and strategic assurances about playing time, role in defensive schemes, and career trajectory, creating a persuasive case for Surtain that apparently no other team, including the Broncos, could match. A series of maneuvers that some insiders have described as audacious and borderline cinematic, with late-night phone calls stretching into the early hours, confidential dinners with key decision-makers, and even subtle psychological tactics aimed at painting Las Vegas as a team on the rise, a city with the right combination of history, ambition, and fan fervor that could provide the perfect stage for Surtain to showcase his talents and cement his reputation as one of the league's elite defensive backs, while simultaneously positioning the Raiders as a force to be reckoned with in the AFC West, a move that will likely have repercussions in the upcoming draft strategies, contract negotiations, and even the locker room dynamics across the division, as players and fans alike digest the reality that a player long thought to be a Bronco is now set to patrol the Raiders' secondary, adding a layer of drama, tension, and excitement that only the NFL can consistently deliver in such high-stakes, rumor-fueled scenarios, making this one of the most talked-about acquisitions in recent memory. The ripple effects of this deal extend far beyond the individual player and the two teams directly involved, as the acquisition of Patrick Surtain II by the Raiders has prompted a reassessment of the AFC West as a whole, with rival teams suddenly needing to rethink their defensive schemes, draft strategies, and roster priorities, a situation that analysts are calling a game-changer for a division that has long been characterized by its physical play, strategic complexity, and intense Rivalries, with each team now watching the Raiders closely, try to anticipate how Surtain's presence will influence coverage schemes, quarterback matchups, and the overall balance of power, while fans are abuzz with speculation about whether this move gives Las Vegas the defensive edge needed to challenge perennial contenders, a question that will dominate preseason debates, media narratives, and social media arguments for months, as the ripple effects of the signing will be felt in arenas far beyond Allegiant Stadium, affecting fantasy football drafts, betting odds, locker room morale, and even front office strategies, creating a multi-layered story rich with intrigue, speculation, and the kind of narrative complexity that sports journalists, bloggers, and YouTube commentators thrive on, turning what might have been a straightforward free agent signing into a multi-week saga of tension, rumor, and drama. From a fan perspective, the reaction has been nothing short of electric, with Raiders supporters celebrating a coup that seems to elevate their team to a new echelon of respectability and fear, while Broncos fans are left grappling with disappointment, disbelief, and an array of emotions ranging from frustration to incredulity, as the team they believed had successfully secured Surtain instead watches him suit up across the division, creating the kind of emotional roller coaster that fuels debate, drives social media engagement, and generates endless speculation about what went wrong in Denver's front office, what promises or assurances might have been miscommunicated, and whether this misstep could have long-term consequences for their team's reputation, player acquisition strategies, and morale, while simultaneously boosting the aura and momentum of the Raiders, who are now seen as both shrewd negotiators and opportunistic visionaries, a team capable of outmaneuvering rivals in ways that may redefine how other franchises approach high-profile free agent acquisitions, leaving analysts and fans alike with a fascinating mix of admiration, envy, and curiosity about how this acquisition will play out over the course of the season. Meanwhile, the narrative surrounding Patrick Surtain to himself has taken on an almost cinematic quality as the young cornerback navigates a whirlwind of attention, expectations, and speculation, with analysts dissecting every aspect of his game, every decision in his career, and every potential impact on the Raiders' defensive identity. A level of scrutiny that would overwhelm some players, but seems to have galvanized Surtain, whose calm demeanor and laser-focused approach have become part of the story being told across podcasts, news shows, and YouTube commentaries, as fans and insiders debate whether his skills, leadership qualities, and football IQ will seamlessly integrate into the Raiders system, whether his presence will elevate teammates, and how quickly he can turn what was initially considered a surprising signing into a dominant force that shifts the balance of power in the division, while simultaneously fueling speculation about potential future moves by the Raiders, including complementary signings, strategic draft picks, and the long-term evolution of a team now perceived as both opportunistic and ambitious in a highly competitive NFL landscape. Adding another layer of intrigue, whispers of behind-the-scenes tension and rivalry have begun to surface, suggesting that the negotiations involved subtle gamesmanship, late-night strategy sessions, and a delicate dance between agents, team executives, and the player himself, with each party navigating the fine line between persuasion and pressure, ultimately culminating in a decision that left the Broncos scrambling, the Raiders jubilant, and the NFL universe captivated as observers try to parse the exact sequence of events, the motivations behind each move, and the potential ramifications for the ongoing balance of power, salary cap considerations, and even the psychological edge in division matchups, turning this story into a multidimensional saga that blends athletic prowess, strategic genius, and human drama into a narrative that will be dissected, debated, and dramatized for months to come, giving fans and analysts alike a rich tapestry of rumor, speculation, and excitement to explore, ensuring that the story of Surtain's move to Las Vegas will linger long after the headlines fade. Finally, as the dust settles on this landmark acquisition, the football world is left to ponder the long-term consequences, from the immediate tactical advantages for the Raiders to the potential recalibration of Denver's defensive plans, with experts weighing the implications for upcoming games, divisional standings, and playoff prospects, while fans engage in lively debates about what this move says about leadership, foresight, and ambition within the league, creating a scenario ripe for analysis, commentary, and endless speculation, as everyone attempts to anticipate the ripple effects, predict the outcomes, and assess whether this signing marks the beginning of a sustained period of dominance for the Raiders, or simply a bold gamble whose true impact will only become clear over the course of the season, all while keeping the story alive in podcasts, highlight reels, and YouTube videos where sports narrators thrive on turning every rumor, whisper, and acquisition into compelling content that feels immediate, dramatic, and endlessly fascinating, making Patrick Surtain's decision to join Las Vegas one of the most talked about moves in recent NFL history. As the dust begins to settle on Patrick Surtain's stunning commitment to the Raiders, whispers from league insiders hint at the next wave of strategic maneuvers that could redefine not only Las Vegas' defensive identity, but also the tone of the entire AFC West, with some suggesting that the Raiders' audacious signing has set off a chain reaction, prompting rival teams to reconsider draft priorities, salary allocations, and roster compositions in anticipation of a team now seemingly armed with a lockdown cornerback capable of altering quarterback decision-making and challenging the very foundations of opposing offenses, creating a narrative full of intrigue, speculation, and what-if scenarios that will dominate talk shows, social media debates, and YouTube videos for weeks, as fans dissect every possible angle, weighing whether the Raiders' defensive upgrade signals a shift in division power or represents a bold gamble that could redefine expectations for the season, while simultaneously leaving the Broncos scrambling to reframe their strategy, reassess free agent priorities, and address the fallout of missing a coveted player who is widely believed to be a perfect fit, turning a single signing into a multi-layered saga of tactical brilliance, rival anxiety, and the sort of rumor-fueled excitement that only the NFL's off-season theatrics can deliver, cementing Surtain's move as one of the most talked-about acquisitions in recent memory. Reports from unnamed sources suggest that behind the curtain, the Raiders employed a combination of persuasive tactics and subtle psychological positioning, creating a narrative that made Las Vegas appear as the ultimate destination for Patrick Surtain, a strategy that involved not just financial incentives, but also personal appeals regarding his role in the team, leadership opportunities, and the vision for a defensive unit that could dominate the AFC West, a multifaceted approach that left the Broncos seemingly unprepared to match the offer, turning what many believe to be a straightforward acquisition into a high-stakes chess match, with late-night calls, strategic meetings, and confidential discussions shaping the final decision. And analysts are now poring over every detail to understand how Las Vegas pulled off such a coup, with some describing it as one of the most calculated and daring moves in recent NFL history, and others emphasizing the psychological dimension, suggesting that Surtain was drawn not only to the team's talent and ambition, but also to the way the Raiders' management presented an image of innovation, dominance, and long-term potential, a narrative that feeds into the rumor mill, sparks speculation, and leaves fans of both teams debating the merits of strategy, loyalty, and foresight, creating endless content and conversation across platforms. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The ramifications of Surtain's arrival extend beyond the Raiders' secondary, rippling through the league as rival teams begin adjusting their offensive playbooks, quarterback reads, and receiver schemes to account for a cornerback with the speed, agility, and instincts to disrupt even the most precise passing attacks, with some insiders noting that the presence of a player like Surtain could fundamentally alter game planning, forcing coaches to rethink routes, coverage schemes, and matchup strategies in ways that ripple throughout the division, while fans speculate about how the Raiders will deploy him, whether his skill set will synergize with existing personnel, and if the signing signals a larger strategy aimed at establishing long-term dominance, all while social media platforms explode with debates, memes, and speculative content, and YouTube channels dissect every angle of the deal, creating a cultural and strategic ripple effect that elevates the story beyond a single signing, turning it into a saga of tactical foresight, player agency, and team ambition, highlighting how a single decision, when executed with precision, can reshape narratives, fuel discussion, and create lasting excitement in a league where rumors and reality often intertwine, captivating fans, analysts, and insiders alike. Meanwhile, Broncos fans are still reeling from the unexpected twist, grappling with a mixture of frustration, disbelief, and strategic reevaluation, as the team once presumed to have locked in Surtain now faces the challenge of rethinking its defensive approach, filling the void in the secondary, and addressing the optics of losing a player that many had already accepted as theirs. A scenario that has fueled heated debates among fan bases, commentators, and analysts, with speculation ranging from internal miscommunications to strategic miscalculations, all magnified by social media platforms where every rumor, insider leak, and whispered explanation is dissected, debated, and amplified, creating an ecosystem where narrative, perception, and emotion intersect, shaping public opinion and fueling further rumor generation, while the Raiders capitalize on their victory in stealth, using the signing to solidify their image as opportunistic, ambitious, and capable of outmaneuvering rivals. A dynamic that makes every subsequent move by both franchises a point of speculation and ensures that Patrick Surtain II's choice to join Las Vegas will remain a touchstone in the narrative of the season, influencing discussion, debate, and expectation at every turn. Insiders suggest that the Raiders' approach was not merely transactional but deeply strategic, designed to signal to the league that they are not only serious about contention, but also capable of executing high-profile acquisitions with precision, foresight, and psychological savvy, blending financial considerations with promises of on-field leadership, development opportunities, and alignment with long-term team objectives, a combination that ultimately convinced Surtain to commit, leaving analysts scrambling to dissect how the Raiders managed to construct such a compelling narrative and execute it flawlessly, with some speculating that this move may set a precedent for how elite defensive talent is courted in the future, while others focus on the domino effect it may trigger within the AFC West, forcing rival coaches, front offices, and general managers to re-examine plans, make calculated adjustments, and perhaps even rethink the hierarchy of power within the division, all while fans follow every rumor, leak, and analysis with fervor, discussing possibilities, debating implications, and creating a media ecosystem that thrives on speculation, intrigue, and narrative tension, turning what could have been a single free agent signing into a multifaceted story that resonates across the league and fuels countless conversations for months to come. Speculation is also mounting about how Patrick Surtain II's presence will impact the Raiders' locker room dynamics, with sources suggesting that his leadership qualities, work ethic, and football IQ could inspire teammates, shift internal hierarchies, and elevate overall team morale, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond on-field performance and into organizational culture, a scenario that analysts, commentators, and YouTube narrators are eagerly dissecting, debating whether Surtain's integration will be seamless or whether challenges may arise as he adjusts to new schemes, coaching styles, and expectations, while fans speculate about his influence on younger players, potential mentorship roles, and the possibility that his presence could accelerate team cohesion, performance, and identity formation, turning a single signing into a narrative with layers of professional, psychological, and cultural significance, feeding the rumor mill and creating an ongoing story that combines athletic achievement, strategic foresight, and human drama, ensuring that discussion surrounding Surtain's move to Las Vegas will remain lively, nuanced, and highly engaging across multiple media platforms throughout the season. The broader NFL community has not been silent either, with pundits, bloggers, and analysts dissecting every element of the acquisition, from contract specifics to anticipated defensive schemes, creating a landscape where rumors flourish, speculation is rampant, and narrative threads intertwine with strategic analysis, providing endless material for sports media content, podcasts, and YouTube videos. while fans eagerly anticipate early glimpses of Surtain in Raiders colors, speculating on his matchups, performance impact, and leadership presence, further fueling a culture of engagement that thrives on intrigue, unpredictability, and the subtle interplay between rumor, strategy, and reality, all of which contributes to a story that transcends a single team, league, or player, transforming what could have been a routine signing into a multidimensional saga that captures the imagination of the football world, ensuring that every pass defended, every coverage executed, and every game played will be viewed through the lens of one of the most audacious acquisitions in recent memory. Finally, as the narrative continues to unfold, the Raiders' acquisition of Patrick Surtain II serves as a case study in opportunism, strategy, and the unpredictable nature of the NFL, a story that blends talent evaluation, psychological maneuvering, and competitive rivalry into a saga of high stakes, speculation, and excitement, leaving fans, analysts, and league observers eagerly anticipating the ripple effects, future transactions, and performance outcomes, while the Broncos and other teams scramble to adjust, strategize, and respond to a move that has redefined expectations, rivalries, and narrative momentum, ensuring that the drama, rumors, and intrigue surrounding Surtain's decision will remain at the center of discussion for weeks, months, and possibly seasons to come, fueling a continuous cycle of analysis, debate, and speculation that makes the NFL not just a sport, but a living, breathing story full of tension, surprise, and the kind of unpredictability that keeps fans glued to every update, highlight, and rumor with rapt attention. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts and comments. See you in the next video.